What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here today for a little NBA talk. That is right. I know we are in the thick of football season and everyone is focused on that. However, NBA Media Days were this week. Preseason games start this week. We are on the cusp of the NBA season firing up. Does anyone care? I guess is the optimal question. Myself personally, I'm a big NBA fan. I love the NBA. Love my Cavs. Excited for this upcoming season. Excited to have. For me, it's really just about having NBA games on in the background like every single night of the week. I just really miss that. And I'm looking forward to getting that injected back in. But from a card perspective, we're kind of in a weird spot. No one's really talking about a lot of stuff. We had the Dame trade and the Drew Holiday trade and all that. And that kind of shuffled things up a little bit. You know, I think after all that trade activity went down, I think Boston is probably the favorite along with Milwaukee in the East for sure. I think Denver's still the favorite in the West. I think Boston or Milwaukee is probably the favorite for overall. I have some questions about both those teams. We'll see how it plays out once the season gets rolling. But card-wise, you know, I've been talking about this for the last couple months. There's this weird, like, almost underground chat when NBA cards come up. It's like you'll be at a trade night and everyone's like walking around blaring like, hey, Joe Burrow, you know, whatever other random hot young quarterback, like openly flaunting that they are looking for those cards. And then also on the download, they'll kind of whisper at you and be like, you got any Luka? Like on the side, like, you got any Luka? Any Ja? Zion? I'm looking for some Zion. Like that sort of stuff. But mainstream wise, it doesn't seem like the NBA has gained a lot of traction. Now, we got Victor coming this year. I am sure Panini is going to put that all up in our face. I'm surprised they don't have some product coming out already, but Panini Basketball seems to be all over the place. He is quite honestly probably going to, as crazy as it sounds, drive a lot of it. The hot young rookie is a favorite pastime in the NBA, along with most sports, and there has never been someone with as much pump as Victor. Now, what does he look like? How does he play? How much does he play? How does San Antonio use him? That's all to be determined. But if he comes out guns blazing, and that's all everyone's talking about, that could spark things a little bit. Once again, it's a little tricky because we don't really have a lot of cards of his to chase, but it could cause weird, you know, people are clearing shelves again if he starts out super hot. And overall, this class seems pretty good, like top to bottom. I know that he's the headliner, but the class overall did have a lot of other talented guys in it. So we'll have to see how all that plays out. What I want to do today is just dive into a little market movers and just kind of look at some guys that have been going up since the season ended, who's been going down, and then just to check in on some of the superstars. So little charts and graphs video, a little classic charts and graphs video for you all today. If you want to check out market movers for yourself, as always, link in the description down below for a 2-week free trial and 20% off whatever you sign up for. So let's look at some cards going up first. I ran these back to July 1st. So right at the beginning of the NBA offseason. Some of these names, it makes sense. They got some off-season pump from the World Games. Some, it's just kind of who knows, whatever. Pretty much all the guys on the going up list had one or two key things happen to them. Either something shifted in the positive, whether that be narrative or the World Basketball Games. That also definitely had an impact in pricing. These are in no real particular order. We'll just kind of run down the list here. SGA, one of the biggest winners. He was at 350 back in the summer. He is now up to 510. That's a 45% increase. A lot of his stuff is from his Team Canada play. He looked absolutely amazing. In addition to that, the Thunder are already the trendy preseason team with all their youth and a full season out of SGA actually playing on a team that is trying to win. A lot of that stuff's getting baked in already. It'll be curious to see how that all plays out, but he was one of the biggest winners of the off season. Going hand in hand with that, with the this time with Team USA, Ant-Man Anthony Edwards, he also got a lot of pump coming out of the World Games. His stuff's up 25% over the summer. A lot of expectations being put on Minnesota for this year. We'll see what they could do if they could figure out the Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert mess. But a lot of people are already, the narrative already is, is this the year Anthony Edwards takes a big leap? Is this the year that he explodes? Is this the year that he leads them to the, this, that, or the other thing? That narrative is already beginning to work its way through NBA circles. Like if you listen to a lot of Zach Lowe or the Ringer podcasts or Howard Beck or any of that sort of stuff, his name's getting floated out there quite a bit. Evan Mobley, my guy, pretty big increase on his Silver Prism, 140 to 250. It's a 75% increase. There's nothing that really happened with him, so I don't know if this is just rogue couple sales. Maybe there was a low sale in there at the beginning versus the end, or people are just once again kind of chasing the next young thing of players that could potentially take a leap. I will say, as a Cavs fan, a lot of this season's success will be predicated on how big of a leap Mobley takes offensively. Defensively, he's amazing. He needs to take a leap offensively. If he does that, it will elevate him to the next level. If he doesn't, he'll be a very good NBA player, but he will not be a superstar NBA player. Austin Reeves, another one. Tons of Team USA pump. Got the contract extension with the Lakers in the offseason. He has also been the hot name in the NBA circles, in the podcasting sphere, NBA Twitter, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people talking up Austin Reeves coming out of the World Games, the practices, the whole 9 yards. He obviously had a coming out season last year, played really well in the playoffs. He's locked up, running with LeBron and AD on a very reasonable contract for the foreseeable future. He seems to be trending up in the right direction. The key thing I will note on him, very low pop count so far. It wasn't like people were running to grade Austin Reeves cards right upon release. So do keep that in mind. I expect more of his cards to be hitting the pop report as we move closer to and into the actual NBA season. Cade Cunningham, people baking in a bounce back season, up 25% since the summer. Was at 315 up to 390. I forgot to note on Reeves, he was at 300 up to 406. That's a 35% increase. Cade, pretty similar, 315 to 390, a 24% increase. He was playing really well last year, had the shin injury, I believe that it was, ended up missing. They basically shut him down for the rest of the season. He seems to be fully recovered. Once again, a lot of buzz surrounding Cade having a comeback year, and maybe the Pistons potentially leveling up a little bit. I do like what I saw out of Cade in the limited time that he played. The other one, and this one is probably the wildest, is Ben Simmons, of all people. Crazy pricing on his stuff. Silver PSA 10 was at 150, is now up to 220. That is a 42% increase. And this is just, once again, all baked in hype off of him saying, he's ready. He's going to be the point guard of the team. He's fully healthy. A couple practice videos. You throw that in the old pot, give it a stir, and next thing you know, you have the pump in full effect on one Mr. Ben Simmons. Listen, I don't hate the guy. I would love to see him make a full return to the NBA and play absolutely fantastic. That being said, I have been burned by this particular bridge in the past, and it is one that I am not willing to cross again. Guys going down. That's right. Even though nothing really happened over the offseason, we do have some prices going in a negative direction. We'll run through these pretty quickly. Lucas Silver Prism, down about 20%. I will note on this one in particular, this card would be fairly flat, but right before I recorded this video, there was a very low sale. That 1K sale came in on a PWCC auction. Right before that on eBay, they were going for about 1.2K. So I don't know that 1K comp is a true number per se, or more because of the PWCC factor. So let's keep our eyes on that one. This could have very easily been down 5% instead of down 20%, but I just wanted to note it. John Morant, down about 25%. Obviously, he had all the nonsense last year. I believe he has a 20-game suspension he has to serve to start this season. Jalen Brunson, huge drop here. I guess not a huge drop. 120 to 98. That's about a 20% drop. His stuff got pretty pricey during their brief playoff run when he smacked the Cavs around. So it's probably just coming down off that little bit of a high. Zion down 20%, 750 to just under $600, down $162. This is all going to come down to how he looks in preseason. Does he come out looking like Bane? Is he ripped? Does he look like Henry Cavill in a Witcher outfit? Or does he look a little Pillsbury Doughboyish? We'll have to see. The big factor with him is playing time. The guy is ridiculously talented. He is a blast to watch play basketball. The question is can he get healthy? Can he get in shape? Can he stay on the floor? They're spinning what you want to hear. He took this offseason seriously. He's finally got his head on straight. He's finally got his body where it needs to be. We'll see what happens once the season starts. The problem with Zion is not the talent. It's the roller coaster ride of emotions. Every time any little Woj tweet comes out or anything about him, he fell on the floor the wrong way, or he had a cramp in his leg or whatever, you're going to be on pins and needles the entire time if you're investing big money into this guy. And that's really the scary part when you're putting money into Zion. Pascal Siakam, huge drop down here, $97 to $36 on his PSA 10 Silver Prism. Pascal, really good NBA player, not a superstar level player by any means, but a very, very good NBA player. I don't really know what the Raptors are doing. I don't think the Raptors know what they're doing. And last but not least, Brandon Ingram down about 35%, was at 200, now down to 130. He was injured a lot last year. Kind of an interesting name. He does have a lot of talent. I've always liked what I've seen out of him, but for some reason he could just never stay on the court. If Zion's healthy and that team can get some run in him, he might see a little bit of a bump up. And now just a quick check-in. I just wanted to check in on some of the superstar cards over this same time period. LeBron PSA 10 Topps Chrome up slightly, just ever so slightly at 7% increase, just under 4K, just over 5K from the beginning of summer until now. Steph Curry base Topps PSA 10. This is a big boy, doesn't sell very often. Down about 5%. Not really much of a swing there from just under 7K to about 7.5K. So not a huge swing there. That's just the next sale could easily just bring that back into the green. The Joker, Silver Prism PSA 10 base, down 32%. Not surprising. We talk about this all the time. A lot of times after winning the championship, the players' prices drop. Why? Because the market floods with inventory. People are buying on the hype cycle of the event. The actual event happens, and then people are like, oh yeah, he won the title, cool. And there's just not as many buyers as there are sellers because everyone rushes the market and it tends to crash the price. We have seen this year over year over year over year, and it is not a basketball exclusive thing. Other than Tom Brady, when he won his last Super Bowl, that was the exception to the rule. Other than that, almost every other player's cards come down immediately after winning a ring because a lot gets baked into them along the way and they just can't sustain at those prices. So Joker is no different. Next up, and finally, Giannis, PSA 10 Prism over the course of the summer, down about 15%. I did look at Dame. Dame's hasn't really moved at all. I talked about Dame in last Sunday's video, and I'll look at him and Giannis again this week and see if anything notable happened in regards to the aftermath of that trade. And maybe I'll take a look at Tatum to see if the Drew Holiday thing moved the needle at all. But Giannis already has a lot, like, he's like a half-baked cake already. He has the MVPs. He has a ring already. So him bringing in Dame, getting ready to go on another short-term run with that team potentially, I don't think moves the needle enough. I think it stabilizes his prices a little bit, and then we'll kind of just have to see how they play. I do think overall from that trade, I still don't know that locks. I talked about this on Sunday. I don't know that locks Giannis in for life. I think it locks Giannis in for this season and next season. And then it's a big, we'll see how things went and go from there. Because the problem is after that team is going to start falling apart and they don't have a way to make it any better. So if you're Giannis and you're still pretty young, do you view that as a title winning situation, or is at that point it's time to jump ship? Which I think at that point, Bucks fans and the Bucks organization might be okay with that. You know, he gave you a bunch of years, gave you at least one ring. I think at that point he could probably move on safely. This is me coming through. This is going through the exact same stuff with LeBron years ago as a Cavs fan when he left for the Lakers. I was pretty content with that one because he came back, he got us the ring, and all was right with the world. The first time he left, a little bit of a different story, but the second time, I kind of understood it a little bit better. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see if happens any other price swings from trades. The only other really surprise thing that could happen is whatever is going on with James Harden. What an absolute mess of a situation that is. But we'll see what fallout happens there. The Sixers are really hanging on the precipice here. if things do not go right, I could see Embiid saying, get me the hell out of here. And that would open up the Embiid sweepstakes, which would be pretty spicy. I would imagine the Knicks would make a really big run at him, along with a lot of other teams in the league. So that's all I got for you, boys and girls. Curious for your thoughts and comments, as always, down below. Have you even thought about basketball? Has it even crossed your mind? Have you been sneakily making plays in the deep, dark streets of the card world? Or are you just content with riding out the MLB playoffs and seeing what the middle part of the NFL season has to offer? We'll catch you, boys and girls, on the next one. Peace.